Hello and welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me Cheryl D'Souza. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all of your stock-related queries. And Cheryl, indeed, it's an important day. Firstly, today it's Friday. Secondly, it was a day of RBI monetary policy. And thirdly, it's Buy Now, Sell Now Pathshala day. So action-packed shows, what our viewers will be getting.
Absolutely. Let me add to the fourth important cue. And why is it a very important day? Because today you had Nifty scaling Mount 21,000 for the first time ever. No doubt it got overshadowed given the fact that you had exactly at the same moment the RBI governor actually started his address on the MPC meet outcome where the rates have been kept unchanged. 5:6, 5:1 is the voting that coming in to maintain the stance as well on withdrawal of accommodation. But yes, by and large, that was what the street was expecting. Expected the RBI governor to go ahead and actually raise, or rather MPC, to go ahead and raise the FY24 GDP growth forecast, and that's exactly what they've done, and a huge jump coming in. Now they're expecting FY24 real GDP growth to be at 7% as against 6.5% that they had envisaged earlier. When you talk about the CPI inflation, they're expecting the CPI inflation for FY24 to come in at above 5.4%, but did say that there are some concerns coming in for sugar prices. Also did mention the fact about food inflation as well. That's also something that they are watching out very, very closely. And RBI governor did say that they are not a central bank or an agency who reacts only after the house is burned down. They make sure that they are well prepared, they're taking well action, and they are always on alert, is what the RBI governor had to say. So that's the key take is coming in from the Monetary Policy Committee meet outcome. But let's take a look at what the markets are doing. And like I mentioned, on an intraday basis, we did scale 21,000 when it comes to the Nifty. Now we are 50 points away from those levels, but we are off the day's highest point. Let's take a look at what the broader markets are doing and what exactly Nifty Bank is doing, because Nifty Bank is moving exactly in tandem with the benchmark indices. Advanced decline ratio tad bit tilted in the favor of the gainers as of now. Talking about the list of gainers and the losers is the metal pack, or rather the metal player that is the top gainer on the Nifty. JSW Steel, that's the one that is the top gainer on the Nifty at this point in time. 3.6% uptick coming in for JSW Steel. HCL Tech, NTPC, L&T are the other set of gainers, while on the flip side you have the Adani Group counters that are the top losers on the Nifty, Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports, followed by Hero MotoCorp, BPCL as well as Mahindra Mahindra. Watch out for a couple of stocks. Zomato on back of the block deal that took place today. 5-Star Health also saw a huge block deal take place today. Also, you had Titagarh, the QIP has launched, and GMR Airports, huge, sizable 12% block deal that took place today. So those are some of the counters to watch out for. But yes, we've been keeping our teacher for the day, Kunal Bothra, waiting by for BNS and Pathshala, Shrishti.
Well, yes, so let's quickly go across to him, and what we can see on the screen is consolidation breakout. And Kunal, day by day, we are seeing Nifty inching towards the record high level. Indeed, today we have touched that 21,000 mark, but the movement have been quite in a laggard fashion. So it makes much more important to understand this topic. Over to you.
Thank you so much for that. So, yes, topic for today is consolidation breakout. And again, a classical way in which we understand consolidations, it's either a point where the index gets into a mild downtrend and then stays on for, a range for some period of time, depends on what time frame charts you're looking out for. There are times when the stocks have consolidated for weeks and for months on a trot before they've gotten to a breakout. So I've taken two examples, one of course on the index front and one on the stocks. So on the short-term time frame charts, this is a recent chart for the index in the month of August. So from that corrective phase where we topped out, or we formed a top at 90,900 mark, the index fell down. As you can see that this was the range which was formed for the index, almost a 300 pointer range approximately, where the index consolidated. Very difficult to try and trade into these kind of bands because there is no sign of a trend emerging into this 300 odd point consolidation, so which means 2.5% band for the index at that point of time. But then what follows is post this end of consolidation, you see, as you can see, that the color of the candlestick changes over here. The trend emerges quite strong for the indices, and then we end this range of consolidation with a clear direction for the index. So this is what the consolidation breakout generally tend to indicates. If this happens, or these kind of candlestick patterns, they come back on the back of some extremely strong volumes, it adds to more confirmation for the stock prices or the breakout. Now we look at another example. This is more on the longer term basis. The charts for Bharti Airtel and how the stock had been going through a major consolidation. So as you can see that the stock was going through a band of almost 10 to 30 to 40%. So almost a 200 to 20 as a base and 400 closer to as a resistance for the stock price. And these are consolidations which are difficult to try and trade or trend from a long-term perspective. But again, as I said, that these consolidations come back on the back of some extremely strong volumes, like what we saw this time around for Bharti Airtel. As you can see, look at the chunk of volumes over here as compared to a plateauing out of volumes for the stock price over the last so many years. This is a strong confirmation that the trend is changing for the stock price, and what we are looking out for is an end of consolidation and a start of a major trend for the stock.
All right, thank you so much for that, Kunal, for actually explaining another aspect when you were talking about price volume breakout is what you spoke about last week. Today we are talking about consolidation breakout, and remember viewers, every Friday you get to learn something new when it comes to the world of technicals right here on Buy Now, Sell Now. But with that, on that note, actually, we will slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we will start taking your query as always, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, a show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related query. Remember, viewers, you can connect to us every trading day on our WhatsApp number that's flashing on your screen. You have to mention your name, the stock that you're looking to invest in. If you're already invested in the stock, then do mention each time you write to us, mention the buy price, the quantity, as well as the time horizon, because in that way we will be able to help you better and also take your queries to the right set of experts. Today, joining us on the show is Kunal Bothra, who is joining us on the technical front, as well as Mr. A.K. Prabhakar, who is joining us on the fundamentals. Very good morning to you, Kunal, firstly, as well as we'll have Mr. Prabhakar join us very shortly. And let me actually kickstart taking the queries with you then, Kunal. And the first query that I have is coming in from Jay Krishnan, and he wants to know two stocks that he can invest in for the medium term with an entry level as well. But the stocks that he's looking at, one is VST Tillers, Persistent, Adani Ports and Adani Enterprises. Out of these four, which are the two companies that he should invest in for the medium term and at what price?
I think VST Tillers is something which you can look out for at current levels. Adani Ports also is something which looks attractive. We flagged off the stock at the 1,000 odd mark. So that's also looking attractive from a medium to long term kind of a positional play. But I would also believe that this could actually be a good time to try and chip into these large cap private sector banking names. So if assuming your portfolio has a scarcity of that, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank are something which you can look out for.
All right, so that's the view coming in from Kunal. But on that note, actually, let's quickly cut across to Uttarakhand Global Investor Summit, where the Chief Minister is talking.
और अधिक परिश्रम करने के लिए आशा और विश्वास का बीज भी रोपित करने का काम आपका परिश्रम और आपका संकल्प करता है। आज केवल भारत ही नहीं बल्कि विश्व के अन्य देश भी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की सोच और उनकी रणनीति और उनके विचारों का अनुसरण करते हैं। हमारे शास्त्रों में कहा गया है महाजनो येन गथा स पंथा, यानी कि जिस मार्ग पर विद्वान लोग चलें उस मार्ग का अनुसरण करना चाहिए। हम भी हमारे मार्गदर्शक आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के बताए मार्ग पर चलकर उत्तराखंड को देश का श्रेष्ठ राज्य बनाने के लिए हमारा विकल्प रहित संकल्प को लेकर एकनिष्ठ होकर लगातार उसके लिए प्रयत्न कर रहे हैं। भाइयों बहनों, डेस्टिनेशन उत्तराखंड का मुख्य उद्देश्य ग्रीन इकोनॉमी, रोजगार को लेकर इकोलॉजी और इकोनॉमी के द्वारा राज्य का समुचित विकास करना है। किसी ने ठीक कहा है कि बुलंदियों पर पहुंचने से पहले बुलंदियों पर पहुंचने से मुश्किल है बुलंदियों पर बने रहना, बुलंदियों की छूने की कोशिश का हौसला हमने आपसे पाया है। प्रधानमंत्री जी द्वारा गुजरात में वहां के मुख्यमंत्री रहते हुए वाइब्रेंट गुजरात शुरू किया और वो धीरे धीरे केवल भारत के अंदर ही नहीं बल्कि दुनिया का मॉडल बन गया। उसी से प्रेरणा लेकर हमने डेस्टिनेशन उत्तराखंड की थीम पर इन्वेस्टर समिट का आयोजन किया है। हमारा प्रयास होगा कि हर 2 वर्षों में इस प्रकार के आयोजन को करें। हमने ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर समिट में जब हम ये शुरू कर रहे थे तो 2.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का निवेशकों के साथ करार का लक्ष्य रखा था, मुझे आपको बताते हुए खुशी हो रही है कि हमने इस लक्ष्य से अधिक निवेश के प्रस्तावों पर अभी तक हस्ताक्षर किए जा चुके हैं। और यह बताते हुए भी मुझे अत्यंत हर्ष का अनुभव हो रहा है कि इस बार हमने पहले से ही इनको धरातल पर उतारने के लिए भी लगातार प्रयास किया है। उसका परिणाम हुआ है कि 44,000 करोड़ रुपए का अभी तक निवेश धरातल पर उतार दिया गया है। इसके लिए प्रयास हो रहा है और इसके धरातल पर उतरने से लाखों रोजगारों का सृजन भी यहां पर होगा। हमारा राज्य एक शानदार होस्ट है। हम प्रत्येक वर्ष करोड़ों तीर्थयात्रियों का और पर्यटकों का आतिथ्य सत्कार करते हैं। करीब 1.25 करोड़ की आबादी वाला हमारा राज्य लगभग 7 करोड़ लोगों का प्रबंध करता है। इसके बावजूद हमारे राज्य की जो कानून व्यवस्था है वो उच्च कोटि की है। भाइयों बहनों, जितना मैं समझ पाया हूं उसके अनुसार एक निवेशक को अच्छा बिजनेस एटमॉस्फेयर, अच्छी कानून व्यवस्था, इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रेंडली नीतियां और बेहतर कनेक्टिविटी तो चाहिए ही, साथ में सबसे महत्वपूर्ण अच्छा स्वास्थ्य और अच्छी आबो हवा भी है। और हमारा राज्य आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट के सारे मापदंडों को पूरा करता है। उत्तराखंड में लैंड बैंक, पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी और सशक्त लॉ एंड ऑर्डर आपके लिए एक अनुकूल माहौल का निर्माण करते हैं। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में जिस प्रकार गुजरात में महात्मा मंदिर कन्वेंशन सेंटर एंड एग्जीबिशन सेंटर बनाया गया है, उसी की तर्ज पर हम शीघ्र में हमने ये संकल्प लिया है कि शीघ्र ही हम जो है उत्तराखंड के अंदर भी एक कन्वेंशन सेंटर का निर्माण करेंगे। मुझे यह बता
So that was the CM addressing the Uttarakhand Investor Summit. But with this, let's move back to the markets as well as taking all your stock-related queries. Then, and moving on to the next query, then Kunal, this one is from Radha from Bangalore, and she's been holding shares of Federal Bank from a price of 158 rupees. What to do in this particular name? The banking stocks have been on the roll, and this counter also gave a recent breakout. But what's the target price on this one?
Yeah, it's a bit of a, I would say, tricky kind of a stock, because the stock gets into a breakout, consolidates, falls, comes back towards a retracement of the trend line of the breakout, and then it manages to move up higher. So I think in that aspect, you can continue to hold on to the stock. I would suggest that maybe closer to 148, assumingly if the stock corrects to those levels, look to average and bring down your cost price.
All right, this one is coming from Joseph. He's writing to us from Mysore, and he has 150 shares of Indian Hotels, which he bought at an average price of 150 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold on to it or should he look to book profits. He's also mentioning the fact that he's a long-term investor. Mr. Prabhakar, very good morning firstly. And coming to you on Indian Hotels, he's a long-term investor. He has actually bought it at a very attractive price, 150 rupees per share. What's your take? Should he now book profits or stay put with this one?
Yeah, good morning. Indian Hotels is the largest hotels. Almost 30,000 rooms is what they will have. And we need to understand, number one, in the properties also they have. But now the valuations are becoming bit stretched. So for a long-term investor, there is no worries. But if you want to book 50% profit and move on, Shaile is something we recommend at this point of time.
Okay, another query on the hotel space, Mr. Prabhakar. This question is from Moshami, and believe that she is writing to us for the first time. She's already holding, she wants to know, is this a good time to invest into Lemon Tree Hotels at current market price? She's a long-term investor and wants to stay invested for the next 3 years.
Yeah, Lemon Tree has been very aggressive post-COVID. Today almost they have operational rooms of 9,550 rooms. And very soon, in next 2-3 years, there'll be 13,000 rooms. But they have been very aggressive post-COVID. So I think for a high risk-taking investor, for 2-3 years, I think Lemon Tree is one of the best investment.
All right, this one is coming in from Slike Banerjee, and this one is for you, Mr. Prabhakar. He's saying, considering the highest dividend yields and equity infusion next week, is it a good time to buy Vedanta and Hindustan Zinc at current levels for long-term wealth creation?
It is a very difficult question to answer. They have been paying very good dividend. No, but they have their own problem. If it is my money, I would give a skip. There are many stocks, where I would like to invest. So if I'm looking at a dividend yield, I think NMDC, where the growth is very good and dividend yield will also be reasonable. So now because of the dividend yield alone, I will not, there should be some growth in my prices, and the stability of the stock is also very important.
Okay, moving on, and Kunal, coming to you, this query is from Karan, and he's been writing to us from a couple of days now. A bit of a longish query. First of all, he wants to know any banking stock that you like at this point in time, majorly from the large cap space, where he can go ahead and suggest and invest fresh money. And his second part of the query is that he's already holding 3 shares. Firstly is Force Motors from a price of 2,600. Lokesh Machines from a price of 130 rupees and Indocount from a price of 150 rupees. So out of these 3, where he can go ahead and book out profits, or would you suggest to continue to hold on?
So I'll start off with the second part, which is the likes of Indocount, Lokesh Machine, as well as Force Motor. Force Motor is something where you can look to book profits. Even for Lokesh Machine, I think you can maybe book out 50% profits. The stock seems to be coming back into a bit of an overbought territory on the monthly charts. So you might see the stock getting into a bit of a retracement. Indocount is something which you can continue to hold on as of now. The chart structure still looks attractive. From the first part, which you mentioned about the banking names, large cap banking stocks, I believe HDFC Bank is something which I would still be bullish on from current levels. Even ICICI Bank looks attractive from current zone from the larger cap private sector names.
All right, moving on, Kunal, coming to you again. IFCI on the chart, Shiva wants to know, because he's already has 5,000 shares at a higher level, averaging 29 rupees per share earlier on. What sort of a target that he can set for IFCI? And also he's saying that he's flexible with the holding term as well.
See, I think you can continue to hold on as of now. I've looked at the charts recently over the last, I think 2 or 3 months. The stock has given a big breakout, specifically breaking past about the 19.5, 20 levels, I think sometime back, towards now 25, 26, 27 plus where the stock is trading right now. So looks attractive. The monthly charts are also quite attractive. The volumes have also been quite positive for IFCI. I think you should continue to hold on.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, the next query that I have is on Nazara Technologies. Pradeep from Kolkata is already holding 20 shares from a price of 682 rupees. Good to hold for a long term, probably for the next 2 to 3 years, or book out profits.
I think these new age technology is something I tried for a very long time. I'm not understanding, so I would give a pass for Nazara Tech.
All right, so on that note, we'll actually slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we will continue taking your query, viewers. So don't go anywhere.
Just a short-term thing. So somebody who is looking at 6 months, sugar stocks will give a pain. But I think long-term is very good for...
Moving on, this one's come from Sandeep Kumar. He's writing to us from Tirupur, Kunal. And actually, let me take this to Mr. Prabhakar, because he wants a time horizon. His time horizon is 2 to 3 years. He's saying that he's holding Manappuram Finance at a price of around 140 rupees per share, as well as Natco Pharma at 748, Welspun Enterprises 334. He wants to know what's the prospect of these counters over the next 2 to 3 years, or if you are advising that if he should switch to better stocks.
I think he is holding all good stocks. Natco Pharma has informed exchange that there is a factory shutdown due to floods in Chennai, but these are temporary things. But I think all 3 stocks are very good. Even Welspun Enterprises, there are lot of activity happening. So Manappuram, Gold Finance, now the banks are finding it slightly difficult, so they are coming back. So Gold Finance is something where margin of safety is always there. So all 3 stocks are very good for a long-term investor.
Okay, moving on to the next one, and the next query that I have, Kunal, is coming from Anand. He's a big fan of yours, is what he's saying, and he wants an advice on Delta Corp. He is holding 1,000 shares from a price of 145 rupees. Should he hold or exit this particular name?
Thank you so much for that. So I think on Delta Corp, I think I've been advising this last week also when the stock was almost at 145 or 150 plus, that these are minor rallies in the larger scheme of things, and the stock eventually gets into a correction. From 150, the stock has already come back towards 137, 138 mark where it's trading today. The concern for the stock now arising on the short-term charts, it's retesting the 50-day moving average, which is placed at 137 mark. So what you can do is maybe keep 137 as a stop loss for the trade. But whenever the stock closes below this 137 mark, I would believe that the second round of correction could probably come back into the stock price. So stay a bit wary into these kind of names. Don't venture into these kind of stocks when you have stocks like HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, SB, etc., which are looking quite attractive. So it's better to make that switch. If not, keep a stop loss of 137.
All right, the next one is coming in from Monish. She's writing to us from Bangalore. Panama Petro. I don't know if you track this one by any chance, Kunal. He has 300 shares at a price of 330 rupees per share. He's bought it a while back. The stock is doing absolutely nothing. What should he do?
Yeah, don't track it, quite frequently. But yeah, just looking at the charts preliminary, looks to be okay. Not a great chart as such. I think trading at 393, if I'm not 339, if I'm not wrong at current levels. You can continue to hold on, but keep a stop loss of 320 and do that for a higher targets of 355.
Okay, the next query that I have, Mr. Prabhakar, is on AGS Transact. I'm not sure whether track this one or not, but Sunil ji wants an opinion on this particular counter as the stock is going and now trading below its IPO price. Any fundamental take on this one?
No, the business model is very good, but it takes for us also at least 2 years for any company to stabilize in the stock market before we also create our strong notion on it. So I think, but business model, I've gone through it. There is no problem in the business model, but for us to understand the management and to understand other things, we also need time. New listing is something we don't get enough data for us to form an opinion.
All right, this next one is coming in from Velavan. He's writing to us from Oman, and Kunal, coming to you because he's addressed this query to you, so I'd like to take it to you only. He has purchased BHEL. He's sitting on a 35% profit. Now he wants to know whether he can hold on to this for the longer term, or should he go ahead and book profits now? And also, if you could suggest a stock for the long term, say 10 years or so, but that I think I will ask Mr. Prabhakar to talk about. But BHEL, a stock that you been pretty bullish for over a year right now, over a year now actually. So what's your take?
So I think if you're sitting with a 35% profit, I think it could be time that you may look to book out partial profits over here. Doesn't mean that my view has changed to be bearish on the stock price, but it's just that maybe the stock could get into a bit of a range action. We're already seeing some fatigue at BHL at the 180 mark plus minus a few points. So it's better to try and book out partial profits over here. Look to buy back again if the stock provides you that adequate correction. And for the 10-year query, I think I'll pass it back to you guys.
All right, Mr. Prabhakar, what's your view? Which is the one stock that you can look to invest with a long-term perspective for 10 years? And it's very heartening to note when your viewers messaging you and asking you for long-term perspective, because yes, the power of compounding one cannot dismiss totally, right?
Yeah, and Kunal, I've been seeing this stock, almost double for Kunal. So he has done a good job in this. I think now long term is good, but I think there are better players in power. I think Tata Power is something you can look at. So they have come with an ambitious target of doubling their sales, doubling their revenue, doubling their EBITDA, and doubling have the solar full thing 4.3 gigabyte, which will come on stream in Tamil Nadu very soon, maybe end of this financial year. So I think Tata Power, any correction would be an opportunity for 10 years timeline, or any good chemical companies also will do good. Now we like Deepak Fertilizer, where ammonia plant has come on stream. Last quarter they had some losses in that, but going forward from FY25 they will do very good due to cost saving in that ammonia plant, which is a backward integration. So we like Deepak Fertilizer also for a long-term perspective.
Okay, moving on to the next one. And Mr. Prabhakar, by any chance, do you track Pearl Global? Manoj Nair, who's writing to us for the first time, has been holding the shares from a price of 1,429 rupees. And on a YTD basis, the stock is already up 200%. Any check on the fundamental side?
I've never tracked it.
Okay, understand. But moving on to the next one, and Kunal, an FNO query, Amit Mishra has Federal Bank futures from a price of 155.3 rupees as well as Maruti futures at a price of 10,731 rupees. Needs an advice on both of these and any targets to look out for.
So I think it's a bit of a tricky situation because I think you've bought maybe I think just about a couple of days back. That's what I can sense because the prices for these stocks are a bit elevated. I would suggest that maybe keep a stop loss. I think say for example for Maruti you can keep a stop loss of 50 DMA which is 10,500, and for Federal Bank if it's a very short term futures trade, then as I said that if you're looking to average for example, then sub that 150 mark could be a good level where you can look to average. If not, and if you're looking at it from a very short term perspective, then keep yesterday's low which is approximately 154 as a stop loss for the trade.
All right. This next one is coming from Rahul Kunal. He wants to know about Anup Engineering. He's bought 300 shares at a price of around 900 rupees per share. He himself is saying that he's sitting on a spectacular profit when it comes to this particular counter. Now he wants to know, keeping future prospects in mind, should he keep holding on to this counter?
See, I think it could be time that you may look to consider booking profits. The stock is, or rather the indicators for the stock are getting into a mild reversal zone. Maybe in the next couple of days, the stock could probably give that confirmation of a reversal. If it breaks below the 2450, 2480 mark, it could actually signal a reversal of sorts for the stock price. So I think if you're sitting on good profits, it's good time to try and take them.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, the next query that I have is on Paytm. Umesh from Vadodara wants to know, since the stock has corrected substantially, is this a good time to enter this particular name? What's your take?
Paytm about few days back, they had the analyst call where they said a small size business will be scaled down. So that is something which made the stock correct. But we need to understand, till today, Paytm is not able to break even or post profit. So we need to understand what is the change model likely to work out. So this is not a profit making company. So they are making losses for the last few years, and what is the path to profit is what we need to understand. For an institutional investor, they know the risk which they are taking. As a retail investor, it is better to invest companies which are in consistent profit. And we have n number of companies where they are very consistent to have 10 years of record profits also. So I think for a retail person, stay away from new age companies because it is very difficult to understand the business model.